And it looks like we're live. So welcome everyone to the November edition of Impact's website Throwdown. Glad everyone can join us, and a very happy early Thanksgiving to everyone. Like normal, we have 10 sites we're going to go through today. And Christine, if you could throw on the screen so everyone can see the hashtag. There we go. So throughout today and throughout our website Throwdown here, use the hashtag appropriately titled website Throwdown, and I'll be monitoring it. So will our team here. We'll try to respond to questions. If you have some great tweets, we'll mention them throughout the broadcast, and those are always fun. I love when those come in. Try to get to those in real time to the best of my ability. So before we jump in and start tearing apart some websites, let's do some introductions. I'll start with myself. I am Bob Ruffalo. I'm the founder and CEO of Impact Branding and Design. We're going to have to get used to saying that we're a HubSpot Diamond partner. Used to be a Platinum, but that just happened this week. So we're now a HubSpot Diamond partner. And we're an inbound marketing agency. Our goal here is to help people and their organizations succeed using inbound marketing, generating more leads, generating more business, and growing their businesses. So that's myself. My business partner, my best friend right here is Tom DeCipio.
Hey, good to meet you all. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer here and a partner of the company as well. And most of the time, if you're having a conversation with us, it's usually going to be with me in the first place, and we'll probably bring in some other team members down the road. But Bob couldn't have said it any better himself in terms of our purpose here and working with our clients. So fantastic.
Awesome, Tom. And behind the scenes, we also have Christine Austin, and she's the one that's behind Impact's website and a lot of the creative that you see that we put out. She's amazing. She makes us look really good. Also on social media and helping out today is Ramona Sukraj, and she is our content creator extraordinaire, and she's one that you read on the blog every day here at Impact. Last but not least, we have a very special guest, and before I jump into that, I saw the email go out, and very, very quickly I saw the subject line, and it said user testing. I was like, oh no, it looks like we made a mistake, but we didn't, because that is the company that our special guest works for, is User Testing. And Stef Miller, welcome to the Impact Throwdown.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So why don't you give a quick overview of your role at User Testing?
Yeah, sure. So I run the demand gen team here at User Testing. Basically, I'm looking at every stage of the funnel, helping the company drive new leads, making sure that those leads have a great experience, and handing off the right leads to our sales team when it's time. Awesome. And then making sure that once our customers come on board, that they have a really great experience, with the product and all the educational resources that they might need. So big content team focus, and really excited to be here today to talk about what I'm seeing sort of in the UX and usability world today.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
And super high level, tell us what User Testing does.
Oh, sure. So we're a platform that helps companies get user feedback on their websites and their mobile apps. So you would say, gee, I want to get some feedback on my landing page. You can actually set up a test right in the dashboard, and then you publish that study out to a panel of hundreds of thousands of participants that we've recruited over the years. And then you get a video of them using or interacting with that website or mobile app sometimes. And you can then decide what needs to be fixed, where people got stuck or frustrated, or actually what they loved, and then do more of that. So it's a great, really quick feedback tool that allows you to get feedback from other people aside from the person sitting next to you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So after this Throwdown, if people want to get in touch with you, or if they want to learn more about User Testing, how can they do that?
Yeah, they should email me if they want, or tweet at me, SuperStef. My email address is stef@usertesting.com, pretty simple. And I'd be happy to toss a few credits to anybody who's interested.
Awesome. Great. That sounds very exciting. We might have to take you up on that.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested.
All right, I can handle that. That's fine.
Awesome. Well, with all that out of the way, all the housekeeping out of the way, let's just jump right into it, and we'll move right on to our first site here.
Nice.
Great. And the first one here is the one I'm going to take. It is TechTick Consulting. And going through this earlier, my first reaction is I love the design. It's very clean looking. I like from a designer standpoint, I think it's very, very strong looking. But then after I got past the initial, ooh, I really like the site, I had some questions. So the first thing is I'm not fully understanding the castle picture. So I'm getting all these great words thrown across the screen: market research, social media, website design, business consulting, and I'm not really connecting how the picture in the background ties in. So that was one of the first things I picked up on. Then if we scroll down, I haven't really seen this before, but I thought the nav bar was very cool the way that did that. So from a design standpoint, again, very, very well done. As you get past the main hero area, and there's no nav bar there, but once you scroll down, it kind of slides in. I imagine you guys might be testing this to see, is that working? Is that confusing? But I think it's cool. I think it's a kind of a neat thing. Christine, if you, yep, right there, who we are. Okay, that's important. I think that's the next logical step. If you're saying you're consultants, who are you? And that's where I kind of got confused here. Business consulting services. Who you are, business consulting services. That just doesn't jive together. I don't think that you are the services. You're the people behind the services. And then I kept reading the paragraph, and there was a lot to read here, but I did go through it. And the whole first paragraph, for the most part, all the way down to like the third line, beginning of the third line, it's like a giant sales pitch. I can almost see it being read like an infomercial. Are you an entrepreneur with an idea ready to start your own business? And it just keeps going with these questions. Had a few successes, and then it just stopped moving forward. And then again, just like an infomercial, then you've come to the right place. I don't know, if I was going to hire a consultant, I don't know if that's the kind of pitch I would want. I get that you're trying to get to the pain points, but I think it came off a little wrong. So I would maybe consider repositioning the section, not to mention that we're still under a header saying who we are, and that hasn't really been answered yet. Mm-hmm. Then going through a little bit, you can kind of see they've given you some little nuggets that they are a consulting firm. Actually, stay right there, Christine. Thank you. You can see they've given you some nuggets of their consulting firm. It says a little bit about who they are, that they have extensive experience. But why you guys? There's so many consultants. Every town's got so many consultants. What really differentiates you? And I think this might be the most important part of your entire website. And I think there's a couple of things that's probably missing there. Does anyone else want to pitch into this section? Any other ideas, Stef or Tom?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. As I was reading that top heading, and I have a real problem with this small heading, big heading type of thing. I feel like it misconstrues the message. Like you were saying, if it's really about who you are, why is the big heading business consulting services? And you hit a nail on the head in terms of it really doesn't pay off until you get a little piece of it on the second paragraph.
Yeah, I agree. Thinking about a homepage, if you've got 7 seconds to really wow someone with the impact of like, what am I going to get out of this, and what is it you're going to do for me? I would say scrap long format copy and put that on a detailed about us page, and then focus on the key offering, bullet point type copy that's really going to drive home what you're offering and the benefit of it.
Awesome. One thing I did like here though that you would expect to miss, but they did a nice job. They actually have a call to action right there. So there is a place for you to go after reading that paragraph. So I thought that was very strong. I would test the call to action colors. Just from my experience, different colors do make a big difference. In fact, I was just reading Christine's article actually that went live today, and they showed some examples, green versus red, and how I think it's spiked by like 20 or 30% by just changing the color. So might want to use that in key spots, but consider some color changes and call to actions. Couple more things here, and then we'll wrap up. I didn't find a blog on this site, although I was looking for it. if you're consultants and people aren't buying your services, they're buying you, they're buying the people, they're buying the ideas, the creativity, the consultant behind the business, right? That's what they're really buying. There's really no better place to prove your expertise than having a really strong blog or a vlog with video content or a podcast or something showing that you're educating and proving your expertise. That would be the next logical step is, if I'm evaluating hire a consultant, I want to learn more, I want to learn from people I trust, I want to start building a relationship with somebody before I even talk to them and really know them. Then when I'm ready, I'm going to reach out to you. And I think that's a huge missed opportunity here. Yes, blogs take a lot of work, but they are incredibly important to, again, proving your knowledge and your expertise and why somebody should hire you. So I would make that the next logical step here. And before we leave the site, the last thing I noticed here, if you click on Twitter there, Christine. So you have Twitter, which is good, but again, same thing, that you're not putting a lot of education and content out there. You only had one tweet this year, back in March, and again, that's a small little thing, but if I'm going to be engaged in a consultant firm, I really want to see somebody that's active, engaged, and sharing a lot of education and thoughts as part of my decision-making process when I'm evaluating somebody. I might be your target persona. Maybe I'm not, but I might be. Those are some things I know I'm looking for, and I would recommend that you're creating content on a regular basis.
Well, just to be fair there, Bob, I think the last pinned tweet was in March, but they posted in October, which still isn't frequent enough, but still.
Yeah,
I mean, what? I missed that. My apologies.
I would definitely like lean on something like Edgar or Buffer, where you can just throw in a bunch of great content, even if it's not your own, but showing your alignment on philosophy and other thought leaders, and just keep that live if you're going to do it. It's a great way to at least show that you're contributing to a conversation of some kind.
Cool.
Awesome. And Tom, I'm sorry, great point. We do overlook things here on the website Throwdown, so use the hashtag if we're wrong and
call us out.
We try to be as accurate as we possibly can, but I went through before and I completely overlooked that. I apologize for that. So, but yes, it was still over a month ago. So,
yep. Great.
Cool. Well, that's all I had for Tactic Consulting, and we'll move on to the next one here.
Yeah, great. Language. I think this one's mine, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. So I did like the first glance, loading this up, imagining somebody just told me about this translation service, which luckily when I landed on this page I saw immediately it's a professional translation service. I wasn't super excited to read all this copy, I will say. Like I have a hard time connecting to the brand or the people behind this. There's not much of a storytelling element here, so that can be done through a number of ways, photography, imagery of any kind, illustrations. I'm seeing call-outs of different industries. That's awesome, and I think that's great for people to be able to resonate with their specific industry or their vertical and what it is that they need. So I immediately started looking to see where I would fit in. If you want to scroll down just a little bit, there's a section there actually that is like, okay, well this part's for me, marketing translation. It's kind of hard for me to read that copy. It's a little light. It's a little small. There might be a way to get people into the site, pull them into the section that's theirs, but I'd love to see a little bit more diversity there, just in the format and the layout and the treatment of these different sections stacking on top of each other. So I go from the blue icons on the top to orange icons on the bottom, and it looks like those are services, I think, that come next, so some sort of header, breaking up those two sections a little bit more, letting me understand what it is I could actually get out of, from this company. It would be really helpful for me, especially, I'm thinking, obviously, if user testing is going to go global, then I'm going to need translation services, and I immediately jumped to see where I could get, which languages, and I found that very easily. So great job on navigation, I think, really calling out, what's going to be useful for the buyer, and I thought that was really smart. I think there is actually a drop-down effect on the navigation, but it's not super fast. So I actually did exactly what you just did and passed over it really quickly and didn't see that drop-down immediately. So there's some things you can do maybe to improve that usability. And then if I would click on languages, if you don't mind, I hope it's okay if we go off the home page. I'd like to dig in a little bit, but here, so I'm seeing a lot of copy about multilingual translation. I'm guessing this is probably really good for SEO, and it's also giving me decent content as a user, so I think that's a win for the way that the site was structured. And I do appreciate that the form is right there on the right-hand side to get a free quote. I'm not sure if you need to have all of that right away. There might be a nicer way to have to provide some of that information, but it is quick, and I do understand that I can get a free quote. I'd like to know how quickly I could get that quote, though. So if there's a way to add, time frame, like expect this in hours or days or weeks, that would be really helpful for me, because I'm probably going to be vetting 4 or 5 solutions all at once, and so it might give you guys a leg up. So
Steph,
anyway,
that is a great point. It's one of the most common inbound marketing mistakes I see.
Yeah.
Everyone knows to put a form on their sites, on their landing pages, but the expectation of what you're going to receive after completing that form is very commonly missed. So that was a very good pickup there.
Yeah. Well, thanks. So actually, if you wouldn't mind going back to the homepage real quick, there was just one more note. Once I scrolled to the bottom of this page, and notice I see that persistent CTA on the top. That's great. You guys did a nice job following up with another CTA at the bottom. It's a different treatment. So I'm assuming it's going to give me the same thing. But sometimes that consistency can help. So I know that the one thing that I should be doing on this site is getting a free quote. It might be nice to know I can contact you without submitting for a quote, though. So if I just had questions or wanted to, call someone, like, how can you make that easier for me to find that information somehow in either the footer or maybe a call out on this page even. But that's what I had. You guys might have some more, but.
No, I was kind of just looking at it from a more of a design perspective. And I would definitely agree on at least the content layout. It's a little cumbersome for me. There's a lot of space that could be probably repurposed for illustrations or photography or something like that. But I think just a couple small things that I noticed are I lost the logo. When you scroll down, you have the nav bar, but you lose a little bit of the branding element. So maybe you take that circle with the two, the J and the R in there, and kind of keep that to the left of the services. And that way you can get back home if you need to, because you lose that as you scroll down. And then on the right, I'm not sure, and maybe user testing has a lot of data on this, but how many people actually use search functions on websites? I feel like there could be a better use of space over there, or it may be taking away from the request a quote button. So those are just two of the things I was looking at.
Yeah.
And I think the JR in JR language stands for Jackie Ruffalo, who I believe is the person that submitted this. And I have to admit, I like that last name, Jackie. Very awesome.
Nice.
Maybe she pronounces it Ruffalo.
Oh, no way.
Awesome. Before we go on to the next site, I'm going to check Twitter here. And I'm going to probably murder this first name. Tejaswi wanted to reinforce that look at defining why you in your website, perhaps the most important part of your site. I agree. And we got a lot of people enjoying it so far, sharing that we're doing great tips. Question here from David Dodd. Is it a bad idea to have social links leave your site? So is it a bad idea to have social links leave your site? Tom, what do you think?
Well, I would probably use the new window blank and keep your site available if you're going to go social. That way you don't lose the window you're on, and if for some reason you hit the X button, you don't lose the site. So, yeah, it's okay to leave as long as you have a new window.
Yeah, agreed. Can you remind us what the hashtag is for this again?
Absolutely. The hashtag is website throwdown, all
Thanks.
one word.
Yeah. Quick thought on social. That's one of those things I would definitely. This is not a user testing the company plug. This is like a get some user feedback plug. If people are thinking they're going to get to your social media sites and they click an icon, then take them to it. I think good point. Like keep your site open, do it in a new tab or new window. But sometimes it's a good way to see in the consulting world, right? If they're contributing in some sort of thought leadership way, or if they've got a big following. If you're vetting a B2B company, then I think it's great. It's good social proof, actually. But
awesome. All right. Well, let's keep this thing moving along. And we have another site here, and Tom, I think you're going to take this one away, right?
Awesome. Yeah, this one's on me. And actually, funny enough, David Dodd, who just shared that last message, I used to work with at my previous job. And the person who built this site is also somebody I worked with at my previous job as well. So I feel like it's like a family reunion here. But either way, so for the first time in these throwdowns, I actually took a lot of time beforehand to review these sites. I usually do the right away type of reaction. But for this site, the first place that I started was with the slider itself. So I've never been a fan of leveraging the slider because for me, I lose the value proposition. What it is that you actually do. It kind of, especially with this one, because there's a lot of animation happening. That it's tough for me to truly absorb the message, and there's a lot of moving parts here. So that was one of the first things that I thought would benefit is just keeping a static value prop. Then the other part too is I went back up to the navigation and I saw that you have a get started, which is great. I like the terminology there. But I would love to see something highlighted to say that this is the next step. If you're ready to move forward with us, here's what you should do. And almost that separation from just a basic contact us, make it pop. Christine, if you scroll down a little bit to what I think is kind of a service section, it's an interesting concept. So I actually appreciate the design of this. I like the colors. It kind of forces me to read specific things. But I thought the UI itself was a little clunky. So it's tough to know sometimes when you have to actually scroll or click over something. So this might be an area where people scroll right by and don't pay much mind to. This looks like it's another version of your navigation bar, because if you hover over it, it has the same high-level terms on there. So you might lose the opportunity to get people to dive deeper into the site. So it's an interesting layout, but I don't know how effective that would be from a UX perspective. And then if you scroll down a little bit more, Christine, at the bottom there's a subscribe section, which is great. I think that's a great first step. But when you're asking somebody to subscribe to your content or to updates, it's probably really important to include those actual, maybe some examples of content you've created, something from your blog, feeding it to the homepage so they can get an idea of what they're actually subscribing to. And then, from an inbound perspective, there's really cool things you can do, like adding something that they will get if they subscribe. So now you're changing the tone of the conversation a little bit to, yeah, just subscribe to more stuff from us. Actually, you can get this if you subscribe. And maybe even change the word from subscribe to get it now. So now you've gained a subscriber, and you've kind of removed the negative connotation of just feeling like they're going to get updates from you. So that was most of the elements that I saw on the homepage. And then the other thing would just be, what's the next step for them in the buying process? In many cases, when somebody's coming to your site, they're going to the blog and they're going back to the homepage for, reaffirming who the company is, what you do, and that's the case where you may want to capture their information through a demo or a contact us page or what have you. I'd love to see that on the bottom here.
Awesome. And on Twitter, David is excited that we're tearing apart his site. I know something right off the bat. Right in the title tag there, it says home. One of the most common SEO issues I see still. And David actually shared his link on Twitter, and again, the link came across as home. So inside your code, look for the title tag. You're going to want to change that, maybe get your focus keyword in there. What's the keyword you want to rank the most for? Maybe you've done some data on that, get that in there. And on Twitter, I'm responding here. I'm giving you a link to Maz's Beginner's Guide for SEO, which I love, and that way you have that, David, and hopefully that will help you as well.
Now, before we jump forward, I just had a couple more comments on the blog page, if we could go there. Cool. So from this perspective, I thought there were just a number of best practices that should be followed here. The first one being the length of the titles. In Google's eyes, usually having it around 70 characters is probably the best bet. That way it gives you enough room to get keywords in there, but also something that's catchy and that reads well. For here, it looks like the blog titles are just like other pages on your website. So I'd want to see something that's a little bit more provocative, something that grabs my attention. I'm glad to see that there's content on here. That's great. But that's definitely a first part of I think best practice. The second one would be to add a name to the blog. So make it a bit more applicable to the industry. This might not be a perfect one, but I was thinking something along the lines of complete organizational health improvement blog or something like that. Get a few keywords in there. And then just a couple other elements, and we'll wrap up here. If you click into an article, you'll notice that the picture is so large that it actually pushes the title down. So it's tough to know if you've landed on the post or if there was like an error and you're stuck with this oversized image at the top of the screen. So that's definitely something I would work on there.
Yeah, I agree. If you're using content to drive traffic to your site, it's important for people to know at a glance that this isn't just some good content, that there's a purpose to this entire website. So wouldn't be a bad idea to think about how you can let people know what Involve is if they're coming from as a first-time visitor to your blog from social media or something.
Awesome. Great stuff. Cool. Let's keep this moving on. We'll go on to the next site here. Steph, I believe this one's yours, right?
Yeah, great. Thanks. So I'm going to steal some wise words from someone who just spoke. Tom, you were talking a little bit about sliders. It's definitely something to be cognizant of. I'm trying to understand immediately what this one says, valuable insights. Oh, I missed the rest of it, so now I either have to find a way back to that slide or wait for it to come back through. Those minute points of frustration can be easily changed by letting people choose what they want to look at and making that easier, or pausing it when you hover over it, for example. If you're going to use one, think about how to optimize it at least. Just one recommendation there. So I'm also, at a glance, right, I'm going to figure out what this site does. The National Society of Compliance Professionals. Sounds like an organization site, so if I'm a compliance professional, that probably makes a whole lot of sense to me. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. But I see that there's a cart option. It doesn't seem like this would be the type of site I'd be buying things from, though. So I don't know what the solution is to that for sure, but that's just something I noticed. It's like, oh, this is not quite an e-commerce site, is it? So those questions, right off the top of my, first glance is there. So then I'm obviously going to be thinking, now that I know that this is an organization site or something I could join, then I'm looking for probably resources, events, and potential career opportunities, right? So I did see at the very top in the eyebrow navigation, there's resources, webinars, Jobline. There's that shop again. So I'm thinking, holiday shopping, but I'm pretty sure that's not what this says. So let's scroll down just a little bit further. I really, appreciate the use of, photography. I think that helps break up, something that might be a little bit dry, and I think that that's great. I do see some company news right off the bat, and I'm seeing, CTA to sign up to be a member. I'm still not convinced I would even need to join this organization, though, so potentially some mission statement about what the organization does, how it helps people, what it provides at a high level, and then the CTA, it's probably going to just drive more value. My guess is you're doing a lot of events, you're meeting people, networking, and saying, head to our site to register or become a member. So it's good that it's easily found, but I think for those who are coming in off the web, then giving a little more context first would be really helpful. And then if you'll scroll down just a little bit further, I see company news and words from our director. Words from our director is nice. I'm not sure if that's really relevant. I think that seems like a good thing to put somewhere, but I feel like maybe you're missing an opportunity to really hook people into membership benefits or something on the homepage instead of just a word from the director. So company news is probably changes up frequently, I would think, if there's new articles that would come through, but if not, this one looks like October 28th, so it's actually pretty new. But maybe showing me 3 of those so I get a sense of like, why would this even matter to me might be helpful.
Agreed.
Nice. Yeah, I was thinking when I saw this, I mean, it looks like a template, a WordPress template with which would be like a standard testimonial slider right here, and it looks like they just popped in a director note. But I think, Steph, like you're saying, get something else in here that's going to hook. So maybe it's an existing member, and they're talking about how great the membership is, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
and I
sure.
bet you in a conversation, somebody's talking about this association and why it's so great and all the benefits of it, and it would come out so much differently if they're talking about it than what came across this homepage, and as they're probably trying to fit into a web template and trying to use website best practices. But try to combine that. It's somebody's landed on the homepage or might be seeing the organization for the first time. What do you want them to know, and why should they join? Why should they care about you? And
Yeah.
really lead with that.
Yeah.
And Steph, I think you brought up some good points there.
Thanks.
And if we can go up to the top really quick, as we look at some of the pictures in the slider, I've seen a few of these before. Of course, it's not sliding right now, right? Keep going one more. I've seen this one probably on about 4 different websites, so note on stock photos. You gotta be careful. I've seen them so many times. And Tom, doesn't it look just like my brother-in-law?
Yeah, it does. It's freaking me out.
That's why every time I see this, it looks just like my brother-in-law. So
Yeah.
I've seen this one so many times, this exact picture.
yeah. Gotta be careful with stock photos.
I do. This is the slide though for me. Like if this was a constant image and optimizing that photograph to make it a little bit more personal, that membership benefits. Let's call out the big 3 and then view them all, or take me to all of them or something, right? Think about that CTA that drives people into the membership. But yeah, I think this is probably your value proposition and your statement right here.
Exactly. Awesome. All right, let's remember to use the hashtag website Throwdown. We have a couple of things coming through. David Dodd mentions regarding the Evolve website. He'd be curious to see how responsiveness would translate into a mobile device with the animated slider. So I guess his fear might be that on mobile, the slider gets super small. I wonder if that would be the case on this one as well. So guys, bring your comments, bring your questions, put them on Twitter, use the hashtag website Throwdown, and we will try to answer as much as we possibly can.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Just to answer that question, David, in many of these WordPress template sites, what happens is when it becomes responsive on the slider, a lot of times it will default to removing the slider and putting a level of text there, but that's something you want to verify when you download and use the template. Make sure that there's some kind of media query or something that says when it's this size, only show the value proposition, maybe with a picture behind it.
Perfect. Great. Well, let's move on to the next one here.
Cool.
And Tom, I believe this one's yours, right?
Yeah, this one's me, and I'm really excited about this one. I just thought, I'm going to flatter them, and their head's going to get really big, but I just thought they absolutely crushed it with this one. For me, I think my eyes went in the exact right order. So the first thing I did was I read Meta, Google for Your Files, which immediately resonated with me. I would love to have Google for all my files. This is probably one of the best value props I've ever read. But then what happened is the GIF started animating, so I followed that, and then I had this really nice color for the sign up for early access, so it drew me back to the form. If I had to take a point off, I think I lost the demo, the watch the demo button, when I first scrolled through this site. And if it's going to be a really important thing, you may want to try to get that maybe up underneath the content right here, or I'm not really sure where it would go, but I completely overlooked it. For me, from a design perspective, I love the simplicity. I love that there's an animated GIF showing me how this would potentially work for the files that I have. And to me, it just seems like a really strong job in terms of generating signups for your beta. Christina, if you scroll down a little bit, we'll take a look at some of the stuff down there.
I love that line right there. All your files, one place to search.
Right? Yeah, they did a really good job.
Yeah, high five to the copywriter, whoever. That's good.
Right. So this was done really well. Leveraging illustration and imagery to kind of explain what's happening within the paragraphs. It's not too much content. It's not too little. I think it was a nice job, and it kind of forces your eye to kind of swerve down the page in a nice way. And if you keep going a little more, one thing I would actually love to see here, I love that you're showing the integrations, but to me, I don't know if it's not developed yet, but I would love to see more. Like, what about the people that might be using Basecamp and have files up there, or Box? Are there more integrations that you have and you're not listing, or are there more that you're building? I might want to see, with thousands more integrations to come as something. If there was going to be something that deterred me from signing up, maybe I'm using something that you don't have, but you can prevent that by showing that there's going to be tons more integrations happening.
Yeah.
And then just a couple more things. If you go to the About page, again, this was actually, although it's quite simple, was one of the best About pages I think I've seen, because that image spoke words to me without saying anything. I saw that and I immediately related, and I was like, yep, that's what my desktop looks like. So for me, it spoke directly to my pain point. It solved for me. And it forced me to want to read more about it. So, again, very simple, but I think it worked.
Does that picture do anything? Like, if you scroll down, is there a clean version of it?
I don't think so. That's a good point, Bob. I know where you're going with that, so you want to finish that thought?
Yeah, that's the thought, man. Is there some visualization, either it be a video or a slight animation or something that could show solving this issue? Because you presented the issue, and we all have this issue, and in fact, it makes me cringe. If anyone here at the office sees my desktop, I've gotten better, but this makes me cringe. What's the solving? And I know your product solves for it, so I'd like to see that.
You know what I would love to see is sometimes there's those images that have like a bar going down the middle. One of them's really messy, the other one's really clean, and you can actually like slide it back and forth, kind of like a before and after.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I would caution, if this tool helps you find things, it actually isn't going to clean that desktop up. It just means you can find the stuff that's on it.
That's a good point.
So however you can visualize that, if you can do that, then that would be a great visual. You're right. That's a great point, guys. Would you mind clicking on the pricing button real quick? We haven't really talked about pricing, and I know in SaaS that's a big deal these days, is how you price things and how you present that pricing, and if you're anchoring at a lower price point, what does that do for business as you're trying to scale? So I was really interested in just checking this out. I actually didn't poke around on the site beforehand, but it's a constant battle to optimize these pages. So it's interesting that your Pro is coming soon, but I could spend $20 now. I'm not sure. So that seems a little confusing to me. Obviously, if it's in beta, great. But I think you should probably contact us on everything.
Yeah, I thought that was a little weird too.
It's a little confusing to me. Pricing seems great, and if you're pricing the way Slack does, so every user gets charged by the month, and you're not bound to spending X amount every year no matter what, being transparent about that pricing and what you're going to do there on this page would help you since you're in beta and just getting that feedback earlier on.
Great point.
That's great. And then the only other I had a couple of things to wrap up here. The first is, Christine, if you go back to the home page really quick, just from an SEO perspective, so I saw the title tag was just smarter search, but I think because your product identifies things that you would find on your desktop as well as cloud applications, I'd probably put that in the title tag up there. So smarter search for your desktop and cloud apps or something like that, and add a little bit more of that long tail. And then I don't know if you can get to the blog from here, but maybe if you go back one page or go to the About page.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was odd that you couldn't access that from the main page, but I guess to reduce the amount of the clutter to get the signups, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I like that you guys are creating some helpful content here. The frequency I'd like to see increase. But I had a content idea for you guys I think would be really cool, is actually writing an article comparing your search to Apple's Spotlight search, because that's my first reaction when I have to search for a file, but it's still not really that organized. So I bet you would get a lot of hits because there's people searching about Spotlight search all the time, and I think that'd be a nice comparison article about that would be really helpful.
Yep, great point.
That's it.
Awesome. All right. What do you guys say? Should we move on to the next site?
Sure.
Let's do it.
All right. And this one is mine. Eventually, there we go. So my first reaction when I went to the site, it didn't really smack me in the face with what you guys do. I see the 3 boxes up here, the different industries with read mores. Then I see this welcome, which kind of made my eye not want to follow it through. But then I'm like, all right, SAP solutions and SAP services. So I start understanding that it's a tech company and it's a service company. I started putting together, but I think a really strong value prop could have replaced the entire top area here, and then that media, public sector, and manufacturing could have been like subsets of that, like this is who we do it for. Mm-hmm. And then you do mention here with a difference. And if you read, there's a big paragraph here, and I didn't want to read it, but I did because it's really long. But you never called out what that difference was. Mm-hmm. And I was a little frustrated because you lead with a difference, and I love that because that's what every business should be doing, is leading off with why them, why are you different, why should anyone care about you, and then it never really came out. And if it wasn't here, it's kind of hidden. So as I was going through this homepage, and I was going through the content here, reading through it, this whole section, some of it shouldn't be on the homepage, it should be on your About Us page. Some of it should have been called out. This could have been broken up into so many different ways. For example, you mentioned awards in here somewhere about recognition. I guess in the 4th line here, numerous awards from SAP, including this, that, and the other thing. Those should all be badges or certifications and icons, big and strong, right in your homepage. You mentioned, you've got thousands of customers. If you go to the customers page, you'll see that they have the logos there. They're nice. That probably should have been brought out in the home page. What do you actually offer? What do you do? That should have been much more clear. So I wasn't really a big fan of the home page area here because I think it's just a big missed opportunity. You look at a pretty good-sized company. You look like you're reputable. That actually does come across, in my opinion. But just your SAP solutions and services. So, I guess that's kind of expected in your industry that sites might look like this. I've seen a lot of sites like this, but you can totally differentiate yourselves, and it seems like a missed opportunity there.
Yeah, I do think some of the elements that they're using, that seem more unique to the brand, which is great to see. A lot of companies who are trying to position themselves as big, enterprise solutions they lose all personality, and so I think this ribbon, kind of effect that's going on with the call-outs and stuff is pretty cool over the image. I think that helps, gives it a little bit more of a unique look. But yeah, I agree.
Awesome. I did notice a small grammar thing. I think headquartered. I believe that's one word, right? I'm not sure. Small little thing.
I'm the wrong person to ask for that.
Yeah. All right, if we news, and then there's a drop down there that goes to the blog. I'm sorry, on the nav bar. And I'm not sure that I didn't even check this before. This page and the news and press releases go to the same spot? No. But it's the same content. It's just different layout.
You tricked me. No, it's different content too, I think, isn't it?
Is it? Business Solutions.
Oh, I see. One is dug into the other one, so it's like flip-flop.
Yeah, it's flip-flopped, right? So I would kind of clean that up because your blog, and you have blog articles. If they scroll down, you can see the 4th article here, how to increase productivity in manufacturing, and then the 5th one here, the strongest relationships. It's kind of hard to see them, are born through baptism of fire. So they have some content on here that they're blog articles, but then they have these press releases. Originally when the site was designed, it looked like it was designed to have this separate, but somehow along the way they got mixed into each other, so not sure why. If we go into how to increase productivity in manufacturing, overall, pretty good. This is better than I was expecting. I kind of read through the content. They separated the article. They have headers. It's a really good title. There's a picture. If you go down to the bottom, they have share links. So this is the area that I probably would say of the site I did like. A couple of things that are missing. I'd like to see counts along with those shares. So not only and most likely, if you're getting shares in the content, you probably want to showcase it a little bit more. But I always like to see is an article that's never been tweeted out or doesn't show any social proof that people have shared it versus one that has thousands and thousands of shares. That adds credibility to the article. Now, you might not be getting thousands and thousands of shares, but if you had 25 or 50 or 75, that adds a little bit more to the content to me in terms of credibility. Mm-hmm. I also would like to see comments. It looks like you have those turned off. I'm not sure why, but let people engage in the conversation. That's a great way for prospecting. If people are engaging in your content and start a dialogue with them really, really quickly, which is the whole reason why I believe you have a blog. And then the last part is there's nowhere for people to subscribe. So I think that would be another thing I would add in, even on the sidebar there, just to subscribe via email. We'll send you an article, once a month or something like that. So that's my feedback on the blog there.
Nice.
Cool. What do you guys say? Should we move on to the next one?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Whoa.
Oh, there it is. My very favorite thing in the whole wide world, a pop-up before I know what the product is. So that's something I would caution you on. And if you can turn it off, I suggest doing that first. At least do some A/B testing. I bet you're going to get a lot of traffic maybe, but I'm not sure that's a great experience for the very first-time visitor. So, one of the things that I do see happening here is that it's a kitty litter box that goes in your window, just like an AC unit, and I'm like, that blows my mind, and I love it. So that's just cool. I think that I'm actually so excited about it. I don't know what else to say. If you slow down just a little bit, this is probably because I think all cats just need to be outside anyway, but this is perfect. So.
Well, that actually kind of makes it a tease, huh?
Yeah, right. So I'm really glad to see that it's safe, odorless, and space-saving. I think those are three huge benefits, and I'm glad that they're right up front, so great job on that. The scrolling images at the bottom of the page right now are super distracting, and the animated banner at the top also, I'm thinking that that this may be a placed ad on your website, and that it's not actually part of this product or part of the website. It looks like maybe, a display ad running on your site. So I would caution, with that sort of animation that you think about how that's applied and maybe build that into being part of the story somewhere on a page about us or something, and then make sure that that makes sense for you. So if you do scroll down, we'll take a look at those sliders.
That's a really good point, Steph, too, because it's actually a pretty good banner ad that if you're going to put that in Google AdWords, it just doesn't belong in a banner space in your own website.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because at this point, I just want to keep watching that little kitty in the banner ad and not learn more about how I can buy one of these things. So, eliminate that distraction might help actually a little bit. And then on the animations below, if there's a way to slow them down, maybe get some user feedback on whether that's helping you sell or not. I think it's pretty interesting. Probably the content's good, but it might be better in a different format, a different way of presenting that same information. And I actually am really glad to see that you've got videos. This is like a new concept for me, like cat boxes hanging out windows, and I just think we need to see videos, so it's good. It's good that they're there. I think you could have one product overview as well. Maybe a higher end video that's talking about the benefits, but get that cat video idea out there into the world, but with this cool solution. So I think you could do a good job around content with this. It's definitely fun. And then I think it's great that you're featuring, you're highlighting where you've been featured. This is a lot of logos. You might be able to kind of clean up that, get it into a grid. Cat Fancy, that's pretty good. So I would feature the big ones. There might be ways to, just kind of clean up that, put it to a grid or something to help make that more simple. But I think it's great that you've got the logos, and it definitely adds credibility to your product. So that's really great. I'm not seeing a big Buy It Now button anywhere, and I technically have to go buy a cat first before I could buy this, or at least adopt a cat. But I think that you should focus on a call to action somewhere, or maybe right below those videos, or somewhere in this area even. So.
Well, Steph, right about now, that pop-up would probably be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or wait till people have done something on the site, and then when they go to leave, give them the old, "Are you sure you really want to leave without buying one of these?" Pop-ups are dangerous. They can really turn people off. So you have to think about, the impact of that experience. As much as we want people to buy them, there's a time and place for them. So think about how that would impact your sales too. So, and then if you wouldn't mind,
I didn't realize there were so many different cat publications and outlets.
Oh yeah, people that love cats really love cats.
Christine here loves cats, right, Christine?
Can we scroll all the way to the top real quick? Okay, so I do see store. So let's just really quickly check out the store. I love this so much.
Oh, there's a dog version too, huh?
Oh.
Oh, where was that on the homepage?
Wow. Okay. Yep. All right. So now I'm seeing there's a price, and it comes with free shipping, and I'm getting a better sense of it. These seem like renderings. I would definitely pay for some good product photography at this point, since it's going to be in my home. I want to know what it really looks like, and I want to know that, like, maybe this is something that fits my aesthetic of my apartment, right? Just like thinking about how it really looks versus the renderings. So you might go for the realistic photos on a product page like this too. And then I see I can pre-order it, so maybe that's part of it too. Is like, this is a concept. But
I feel like I'm going to see this on Shark Tank next season.
Yeah, I hope so.
That'd be awesome.
All right, those are my thoughts. I just think it's really fun. I think you can play up that fun brand. The stickers are cool. That's a good idea. Just like, I would definitely love to play with the content for a product like this, for sure. For social media, I think it would do great.
Awesome. I hope people are pre-ordering right now.
Me too.
That little delay that Christine had before when you asked her to go up and she didn't, I think she was buying.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
Cool. We're running out of time, but I want to make sure we get through the rest of these sites. We're going to go a little over if that's okay. Let's move on to the next site here. And this one was mine. So my first impression of this site, I really, really liked it. What I liked the most was that first line there. Online criminals hate us. Ooh, man, I think that was strong. And then we protect you from attacks that antivirus can't block. Super, super strong. Could have probably been a little bit bigger.
Yeah, I actually didn't realize what it was for. But now that I see that line, I love it.
I mean, what power with that one statement right there. Then you go down to the next section. I don't mind the design. I get the software. Actually, nope, go up a little bit. There we go. This section right here, no, a little higher, a little more. I get that you have 3 different solutions, but instead of leading with the product name, maybe you should have led with the who it's for or what it does and what differentiates the 3 products, and then bring that back in to here's the product that solves that. 1, 2, and 3. So, because I don't think, seeing the Pro, the Corp, and the Free, I don't know, it's not doing much for me. Like, what's the difference? And if you're going to say this is for, Pro is for this, maybe, I don't even think the text underneath there is the right text for it. I think there needs to be some kind of separator there that says what it's for. All right, scrolling down. This is where I thought kind of started losing it. I get that you have an enemy. The enemy is antivirus software. You made that very clear in your first statement, but but then this wasn't doing it for me, the next section. I wasn't seeing why you were so much better in antivirus. Something's missing. I look at this and I'm like, yeah, I think antivirus does that too. Now granted, I'm probably not your target persona, but maybe I am. I do have a Mac, but I'm not sure, like, if I had a PC, if I'd be your persona. But I wasn't seeing the key differentiators until, if you scroll down a little bit, more, this little tiny link that says why Heimdall. And I believe on that page, first off, this graphic going back and forth, still not understanding the difference. It's not clear enough to me as maybe the standard person. Maybe if I was an IT person, this would make more sense to me, but I'm just not getting it. But if you click into the why Heimdall, I think I'm saying that right. Now I start seeing the explanation a little bit more.
Oh, yep, I like this too.
So if you start scrolling through, and there's more, I mean, this is a pretty loaded page here. There's the graph again, but at least that has a little bit more of an explanation to it. And it's starting to say what makes it unique and why it's powerful. I'd still really like to see that black and white. Antivirus is this, and then we do this, almost dumbed down for, if you really are going after the PC user. I think you're not connected with them at this point. So I would love to see that. I thought that's
interesting.
pretty good.
It'd be really fun to run an A/B test on this page as the home page compared to the current page.
I like that.
Because I think that this is telling a story about what the product is, and it gives you more context. It's kind of that,
I would love to see here at the bottom, Christine, you notice that it goes right to the Pro. But I would love to see something interactive that tells me which one I would need, right? Because maybe I don't need Pro. Maybe I could get away with free right now, which gets me into your funnel. Or maybe I really need Enterprise. So maybe it's something you select, how many computers are you protecting, or you know what I mean, versus just telling me that I need the Pro version. I think the A/B test would be, excuse me, be a really strong idea. And to your point, Bob, I honestly can't tell who they're targeting. If you scroll up a little bit, I see some really technical terms that most people won't know, like cryptoware malware attacks. I know what malware is, but I don't know what cryptoware or banking Trojan attacks are. And this, to me, is talking directly to an IT person.
I think so.
So I think the way that this site is positioned needs to be more clear, one versus the other.
Yeah.
And if we head over to a blog really quick, and there we go. I thought that was kind of a cool pop-up, but to Stef's point before, it's a little too early. Maybe if I read an article or two, or I was, exit intent, something like this probably would have been a little bit more appropriate. But I thought it was okay. It was just too soon. I want to exit out of this now and get back to where I was trying to read the blog. These pop-ups do work. I mean, let's not lie. People use them for a reason. They are highly effective. They do drive conversions. They do drive subscribers. But you have to use them at the right point. Now, in my opinion, it was a little too soon. But maybe they're testing it. Maybe they found doing immediately worked better than not doing immediately. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I really like that. A blog about online privacy, a blog about keeping you safe. Interesting, kind of scroll effect there.
Yeah,
I did too.
That's nice. I like that, if we're talking about security, trust is a big factor, and I like that we have a picture of the person who's writing it. It's a real person. It's not like an outsourced piece of content. Or maybe it is, but even though I can't tell. I like that.
All right. Before we move on to the next site here, I'm just going to go over to Twitter. I think Meta just hopped off the website Throwdown. They said they're getting right to work. So they appreciated our feedback. So I'm glad it was helpful. And Ramona here says that Dogio doesn't just roll off the tongue like Catio does. So I'm much more a fan of the cat product.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to the next site here. We got two more to do. We'll try to squeeze them in. Give as much value as we can.
All
Net
right.
Profit Inc.
Yeah, this one's on me. And interestingly enough, Bob, I think it's the Bizarro twin of the first site that you did, because it looks like it's executive business consulting, but I think they're missing the design element that you were showing before, but they're capitalizing on some of the other things that I think was missing from the first one. But as far as
I hope they're still on the Throwdown listening to this.
I know. So a couple of things to just kind of share from here. The first one was, I just from a design perspective, it doesn't feel like a homepage. You know, I look at it, it looks like an interior page, and it doesn't give me that right first impression. There's nothing grand or exciting about it. It just kind of left me feeling a little bit cold and a little flat. And you know, whenever it comes to financial or consulting or even security, to me, I think it has to have actual people that I'll be working with, especially from a consulting standpoint. Show me somebody from your company that's helped somebody get some results or what have you, but don't show me a stock photo handshake. Have to see those types of people.
Yeah.
Also, from a navigation standpoint, I think there's a better way to optimize the buying journey if we're thinking about awareness, consideration, and decision. I'd love to see that kind of reshaped to be home, services, moving into the what we do, going into the consideration, the about, the blog, looking at their expertise, and then contact us, right? So they have a get started that's kind of in the middle there. It seems like it's in an awkward spot. I would probably rename it to contact us, put it all the way to the right, get rid of the search bar at the top, and put a big get started button. Again, I don't know what the numbers are for search, but I rarely use them, and honestly, I don't know a lot of people that need a search bar on a website like this. If you optimize the journey enough, there's no need to search for anything.
Very good point.
Now, the other part that, and I'm going to take some points off for this one, we think, then we do. I was almost offended by reading that, because I hope that any company I work with thinks before they do anything. And to me, I didn't really see it as something that needs to be restated. The next statement I thought was fair. Management consulting firm specializing in profit revenue growth along with operational improvement. I thought that was great. But just rework that value proposition to be more mission-based or purpose-based or something like that. The other thing that really irked me about this is if you look at the beginning of every paragraph, it's either we or our. And consulting is not about you. Consulting is about me, actually, a business owner, and you guys helping me through some of these stages. And I didn't feel comfortable reading it. I was kind of turned off in some ways. So I would definitely try to rework this content on the homepage and think about solving for the business that you're working with.
Something really ironic that I see here. The web address ends in .org, which is typically saved for nonprofits. But the company here's name is Net Profit Inc., which sounds like the complete opposite of a nonprofit.
That's a good point.
I'm not sure why they decided to go with the .org. I mean, maybe they are a nonprofit. Maybe I'm missing something here. But that's a little confusing to me. It should be a .com or something else if you guys are really consultants like you're coming off to be. .orgs really should be for nonprofits. That's what they're made for.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. So from an SEO perspective, I was cruising around the site a little bit. Christine, if you could click on the main services page, and you guys are going to recognize this immediately. If you look at the URL structure, we've got 329-2, which definitely is not a helpful bit for the search engines to notice your service page here. I did notice that if you click into a specific service, unfortunately, you can't do it from the links at the bottom of the screen, but you can do it from the nav. So part of the advice here would be to add links to accounting and finance, profit maximization at the bottom. The other pages seem to have the actual service in the URL structure, so that's good. I just wanted to point that out. And then finally, if we go to the blog page, to kind of bring this home, I actually enjoyed some of the articles that you're writing. I thought they were quite helpful. Although the frequency is off, it's like once a month, which is, it's good that you're doing that, but I would love to see that be more consistent, probably more like once a week, if possible. But I thought some of the titles were clever. I thought they were helpful, something that would grab my attention as a business owner. And then, I think looking at the right side, I'm not sure if the mission statement makes sense on the sidebar here. I would probably consider adding some kind of subscribe form or something like that to get people to, come continuously